You are listening to the Love and Confidence Podcast, episode number 136. Welcome to the Love and Confidence Podcast. If you're a woman who wants to feel more irresistible, have more fun, and create deeper and more authentic connections, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help you become the best and most confident version of yourself so you can attract the love life you desire. Let's get started. Hey there, welcome back to the podcast. Self-love. Do you know exactly what it is and how to practice self-love? How do you love yourself? For many people, this is a little bit fluffy. We don't really know what it means. And can you have too much of self-love? Is it selfish to love yourself? And how do you even do if you just don't love yourself? How can you change that? How can you know if you love yourself? How can you know if your level of self-love is normal? How does that show up in your life? And what are the things that someone who has a lot of self-love, what are the things that they do? And what's the difference between someone who has it and someone who doesn't have it, or someone who feels self-love and someone who doesn't? Today, this episode is about self-love, and it's about some of the things that you might not think of as acts of self-love, but different kinds of behavior that show you that you love yourself, or different kinds of actions you take as a consequence of loving yourself and having yourself in high regard. Now, self-love is not just the positive affirmations that you can do in the mirror, although this can actually work quite well. This is a good exercise to do. And it's also not just the spa or the massage or the hot tub or the shopping and spoiling yourself. Self-love is, in a more deep understanding, is when you make intentional choices that corresponds to what your long-term goals are and what your values are, the choices that serve you the best, even if it means saying no to something right here and now, because it doesn't serve you long-term. So in this episode, I will share with you 7 acts of self-love, 7 ways that you can choose to show up, or behaviors that will show you that you have self-love, or that will be a consequence of you choosing to love yourself, choosing to honor yourself and prioritize yourself and your desires and your values. Number 1 is when you decide to listen to your intuition and stick to your gut feeling, even if you get confused by flatter. So this could, for instance, be the situation where you are dating a man and something tells you he's not a good match, but you keep seeing him because part of it feels good. Maybe he's charming and good looking, and when you're together he says all the right things, but then you hear nothing from him for a week or two. But you keep feeling flattered when you're together, and maybe he boosts a little bit your ego because he's the kind of man who you never got much attention from in the past. And now all of a sudden you're dating someone like that. But still, something doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like he sees you as a person who's equally important to him. And somehow you get this feeling that he always sees himself as just a tiny bit more important than you. It's something he says or a lack of response to a text that gives you this subtle message that you are not quite good enough to him, at least according to him. And an act of self-love in this situation is to not let yourself get confused by the flatter and him being good looking or charming or whatever it is, but to listen to your feeling and take it seriously. Way too many players continue to do their little game with women because we reward them. We give them what they want. And I don't want you to think of this as educating the guy, because he might not be educatable. And it's not your job anyway. Your job is to be the protector of your own heart. It's to walk away from men who don't respect you as an equal partner and who don't want a committed relationship or an adult connection, and who see you as someone they can pull out of the drawer whenever they want, someone they can play with like a toy when they feel like that, and then put you back again and forget all about you. So listen to your intuition, take yourself seriously in that situation. That is number 1 act of self-love. Number 2 is to be honest to yourself in terms of what you're looking for. Don't tell yourself to be realistic or compromise if what you think is available wasn't what you really wanted. Choose to be deeply honest with yourself. Look into yourself and find out what is it really I want. Not only when it comes to men and relationships, this is also for the rest of your life. So many of you don't dare to express loud and clearly when someone is listening what it is you really want, what you deeply desire, because you're afraid to come off as desperate or needy, or you're afraid that if you never get that, it's going to be shameful to have said it that you wanted that and it was a goal or a dream of yours. A big act of self-love here is to stand by your deepest desires. To be able to stand straight and look someone in the eyes and say, yes, this is what I want. I want to find a life partner. I want a committed relationship, or I want to get married, or I want a family. You always have to start by being honest to yourself. And that also means saying no to those who don't want the same as you want. Number 3 is to say no to instant gratification when doing this will go against your goals. Again, this is not only in dating, but in all areas of life. Saying no to yourself might not seem as the obvious act of self-love, but it is when you can see that it doesn't serve your future self, that the future version of you will have to pay the price of what you do right now. So in dating, this could be, for instance, compromising your values by becoming intimate with someone very early on, because he is there and is tempting, although you wanted to get to know him and develop a more emotional connection with him first. It can be staying in and watching Netflix when you decided to go to the gym or do something that feels important to you. And it can be buffering your emotions away with ice cream and shopping instead of feeling them and processing them and making decisions accordingly. So always thinking about what serves your future self over what serves your present self right here and now. That is an act of self-love. Number 4 is to communicate courageously. Instead of trying to push it down and move on and pretend everything is fine, even when it feels super scary to say whatever's on your mind. This is probably when it's most important to say it. Something your partner or your dating connection said or did didn't land well with you. And after you have thought about it, you still feel triggered by it. And so you might think it's better to just forget about it because he didn't mean it like this and it wasn't his intention to hurt me and so on. But if it still keeps popping up in your head and is on your mind, then it will create a distance between you. And then a big act of self-love here is to take it seriously. Take your own reactions seriously and then say what's on your mind. Think about how you want to say it and then go ahead and do it. Number 5 is accept that as we cannot change other people's behavior, and we shouldn't try to do that either, then your best possibility is to choose your response. Choose to act in a way that serves you, given that the other person is behaving the way they are. And whether that means walking away or saying no or speaking up depends on the situation, of course. And this also includes not trying to convince someone to love you or to stay with you if they don't come towards you by themselves. Trying to change someone or convince them or make them do things they don't want to is just gonna break your heart. It's just gonna make you feel like shit, to be honest. It's gonna be a struggle and you are going to lose it. And in the end, you have given yourself a really bad experience compared to if you just let them go and let them make their own choice and take the consequences of that. And spare yourself the humiliation of having tried to make someone stay only to have to give up. An act of self-love is to be above all that. To watch that movie all the way to the end, so to speak, before you decide to play a role in it, and then notice that it most likely is not going to go well, and then decide to say no thanks to that game. Now, it doesn't mean you can't discuss things if you disagree, or you can't ask for something. That's not what I'm saying, but in cases where this has already taken place and you sense the other person is not going to do what you wanted them to do, that's where it's a wiser choice to let it go. And number 6 is acknowledge and process your negative emotions, but don't let yourself drown in them. Don't let emotions like anger and disappointment eat you up. Acknowledge that you have them. Sit with them for a moment. Allow yourself to feel it all the way through, even if it means crying and falling a little bit apart in the moment. And then listen to yourself and get curious about what is beneath the emotions and why are you feeling all this. Try to go a layer deeper than what you would normally do. What is the deeper meaning of this situation, and what is it that makes you feel so angry or sad? And then once you have analyzed it, decide from a clear mind how you want to respond. How do you want to choose to think about this situation? And maybe the thought you want to remind yourself is that this situation has just shown me that I have completely different values than this other person, or I would have done completely different in their shoes. Wow, I really disagree with this way of showing up. I would have never been able to do that myself. But he has his freedom to choose, and so do I. And I don't need to be eaten up by anger. I can just leave. I can just walk away. Or I can just let him know without judgment. Just let him know that, hey, what you did the other day, your way of reacting, that was so strange to me. That was so far from what I would have done. And it might actually be a deal breaker. And so the last act of self-love is show your full authentic self in a dating context. This will increase chances that you attract someone who is actually a really good match for you. Someone who not only accepts everything that makes you special and unique, but who adores that. It will create the space you need to be yourself, and do it as early on as possible. Don't try to adapt or change yourself. You deserve someone who likes you for your nature, your true DNA. And make sure you don't commit to someone before they have seen the whole you and you have shown them your true self. That is an act of self-love. You show yourself that you love who you are and you believe you deserve to be loved as the person you are, not as the adapted version. So, be you. This was all I had for you today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. As usual, I would love to hear from you if you have any questions, if you have any ideas for something you want me to talk about on the podcast. Please reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at Lærke the Love Coach. Or if you are on my list, you can always write me by just responding to one of my emails. And if you're not on my list, then go to the show notes and sign up for one of my free guides and you will automatically be on my list. Or go to the website lærkenilsencoaching.com and check out the page that is called Freebies. And there you will find a lot of free guides and you can sign up for that and you'll be on my list and you can always hit me with an email and let me know your questions or your comments. Thank you for listening all the way to the end and have a wonderful week. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.